Hey Twitch, welcome back to AWS reInvent. We're live here from the floor of the Venetian Expo Hall in Las Vegas. I'm joined by Travis, Ziggy, and Nikki.
Hi everyone.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit about developing Twitch extensions. So if you're familiar with watching game streamers or streamers like us on Twitch, you might see some of these extensions pop up periodically. If you're interested in figuring out how you can actually build those, you'll learn that here today. So you want to introduce yourselves quickly?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Travis Brown. I manage the solutions architects team at Twitch on the developer experience side. And so basically we work directly with developers to help them build and integrate with Twitch. And lately it's mostly building extensions.
Yeah, and I'm Ziggy Abdisubhan. I work on the developer partnerships teams on DX, specifically with extensions. My team and Travis's team works together to help developers build their best extensions. I'm more on the help you figure out your go-to-market plan. How do we get started? Tech side is Travis's team, and together we do a good job, I think.
Yeah.
I'm Nikki. I'm a technical evangelist at AWS, and I have a lot of questions about Twitch development. So
Excellent.
Awesome.
Cool. So to get things started, let's just talk briefly about what a Twitch extension actually is.
Yeah, so basically a Twitch extension is a web app that any developer can build that a broadcaster installs on their channel, either over the video, in a panel area below, and it provides interactivity that the viewer can actually get more information about the stream, or the viewer can actually interact with polls, sound alerts, like any number of things.
buttons.
Yeah.
What's that?
Buttons.
Yes, exactly.
I feel like
Many.
there are buttons somewhere, maybe later on this here.
Possibly.
Cool. So what's an example of one of the coolest Twitch extensions that you've seen?
Yeah, so actually there have been hundreds of extensions since we've launched. I think some of my favorites include esports related ones, like the Overwatch League extension gives a lot of real-time statistics and information about the event that you're watching. We also have one called Sound Alerts, where you can actually spend bits to have basically a soundboard that the broadcaster, that you'll hear your sound triggered on the broadcast. Do you have any others you like?
I think the one, Sound Alerts, you stole mine.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Which is a pretty fun one. I think from a more nerd perspective and understanding what the streamer is using, the Amazon Gear Now Blacksmith, one that helps you figure out their whole rig, like what computers, what mouse, the gear they're using is pretty cool too.
Nice. So recently there was Twitch Developer Day.
Yeah.
You had a pretty cool announcement about how people who are developing extensions can actually get some credit to build those on top of AWS. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we really love extensions. We really want them to succeed and want you guys to be able to succeed with them. So we have an AWS promotional credits, up to $1,000 of credits you guys can get to help you build your proof of concept, your MVP, to get you started, so that you can build your dream extension with us.
Cool. So if you want to get more information about how you might be able to get those credits, go to dev.twitch.tv/extension/AWS, and you'll be able to find information on how you can get started and apply for those credits.
Yeah.
So let's jump in. Let's say that I'm brand new to Twitch extension development. How do I get started?
Yeah. So actually, we have a lot of places for you to actually find out more. One thing I usually tell developers is we have a lot of extensive documentation available at dev.twitch.tv. So we have a getting started guide with extensions. And obviously, documentation is great, and there's a lot of information there that you can use as a reference, but it's really, sometimes you get sick of reading and you want to jump in and experiment, and you want to learn more. So we also have, we actually just announced this and launched this at TwitchCon Developer Day, which is the new Extensions Sandbox. The Extensions Sandbox allows you to experiment and build out and learn more about the different components of an extension. So for example,
If you start building in the sandbox, can you pull down the code and continue building on that extension?
yes, you absolutely can. So one of the great things is any of these files that you edit, whether it's the HTML, the JavaScript, you can actually just click download code, and it'll package it up into a zip, and so you can actually work on developing that, in a different environment. We'll talk about the developer rig here in a second, but this is really great because it acts as a place that you can actually begin to structure some of your front end while also learning more about the different files that are needed. So for example, we have the panel here. This is just a simple hello world.
Yeah, we have a question
change
from
this.
the chat stream from Robert
Ooh.
Tables.
Robert.
What kind of a marketplace is there for Twitch extensions, and what are they usually developed with? What language? Node.js?
Yeah, so extensions have both a front end and a back end. So it's really, it can be any language you prefer. I think the most common ones we see are Node.js and
Yeah.
Go for the back end.
I developed one in Node.
Yeah, but it's, and in the front end, we also see React used a
React,
lot.
yeah.
And we have a React boilerplate that you can use to get started as kind of a template as well.
Yeah.
So there's a couple different parts of an extension, right? You've got a front end, a back end,
Yes.
and you have the sandbox, and you have a developer rig.
Yeah.
How do those all fit together?
Yeah, so the front end and the back end are the extension itself. The sandbox is a tool that you can use to learn more and just get started. But when you're ready to actually jump into dedicated development and you want to rapidly iterate on your extension.
Like developing locally.
Yes, exactly. You can run both the front end and the back end from your computer locally. And that actually cuts down on the iteration quite a bit. So I actually have the developer rig downloaded and ready to go here. You can actually find the link in the documentation to the developer rig. We have a GitHub there. We actually accept pull requests if you see any things you want to update to the developer rig. So this is the first, after you log in, this will be the how you create your extension project.
Looks like you have some templates there.
Yes, exactly. So once you enter in these fields, you can actually start from a hello world. You can start from the React boilerplate. You have a lot of starting points that you can use. So
And you guys are going to be adding more?
yes, we're going to be adding more, and we're also going to be adding some from the community as well.
Awesome.
So
nice.
I'm going to go ahead and I have a created extension. Extensions have a client ID associated with them.
Yep.
And this way, you can actually put in an existing extension and directly fetch the metadata about that extension from the Twitch
Looks
API.
like we have
Very
another
nice.
question from Soy Games. If I wanted to select which game to play next, is that an extension or a chatbot?
So it could be either, really. There are chatbots out there that exist that do that. There are extensions out there that do that. The advantage of having an extension is you get a lot more engagement from your viewers.
True.
We've seen that with the extension being right over the video, if you make an experience where you have to click on something, you get way more people involved than going into chat to type it out.
Yeah. But there are there's ability for people to create, not necessarily chatbots, but the extension to interact with the chat, right?
Yes,
We have another question from Twitch M123. Can we use Twitch extensions for contact center use cases?
I'm sorry, for what?
Contact center use cases.
Contact center use
Like
cases.
support as they're watching the live stream?
I see, yeah.
I
so
would say yes.
You
see
could
why
have,
not.
yeah, you could have an extension that actually provides that, and there's enough information there for context about the moderators to be able to take those requests in, and actually the moderators, you could set up a separate moderator view to handle that.
Very cool.
Cool.
I'm going to answer this one from Robert Tables. He asks, do you see people using Cloud9 for Twitch extension development? I don't, just because the developer rig he's about to show you is the best place to develop a Twitch extension, and you would do that locally.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible to set that up. I haven't seen that personally myself.
I haven't seen that done yet.
But with the developer rig, you kind of have what you need to locally iterate. And so I've created this, the AWS Launchpad sample here, and you see you can actually start up your front end and back end separately, and you can see you have logging here. And the advantage of the rig is you can actually generate views for the different views of your extension. So whether it's an overlay, whether it's in the panel, you can actually signify if it is a logged in viewer, whether it is logged out. So you can basically simulate all your different contexts that you need to develop against.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So this is spinning up. This is the Hello World sample, and it's really very simple. All it does when a viewer clicks on this button to cycle a new color, a request is sent to the back end.
So this is the panel view, which means to a viewer this would display below the actual video?
Exactly.
Got it.
Thanks for clarifying. So yeah, there's the panel view that would be below the video, but you can have an overlay that's on top of the video as well. And so when you click yes I would, that actually is sent back to the back end.
And then you're logging there.
Yes, exactly. So as you develop, you can actually add twitch.rig.log to log lines, so you can actually see and develop quickly here to actually experiment.
So you could add multiple views to these extension views, so you could see like what the broadcaster sees and the viewer sees at the same time?
Yes, exactly. So I can have a broadcaster view, although this would be the viewer type, but it would also be a panel. And so like this would be, if you had functionality that differed between a viewer or a broadcaster's experience, you could simulate both of these side by side.
Oh,
Cool.
very nice.
That's awesome.
So the broadcaster view gives you like the tools for administrating the extension behind the scenes. So if you want to change things that affect what the extension does or how people interact with it during the live stream, that's what the broadcaster view is
so
for.
when you create your extension, you define the front end components for different views. You have the viewer, either a panel or an overlay view. You have the dedicated broadcaster configuration view. And so these are separate HTML files that you define. So you really have a lot of flexibility to define the exact interface for the broadcaster for them to configure or update your extension as necessary.
All right, great.
We have a question from someone out in the audience here.
Ooh.
MRCJ asks, can I hook up an extension to AWS Recognition to do video analysis?
I think you definitely could use Recognition to do video analysis.
Yeah,
of
you
the
could hit
stream.
the API from your backend and deliver the information to your front end and then display it.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah, and
possible.
Recognition supports live streaming content as of relatively recently, I think.
Oh, wow.
So
Awesome.
yeah, you should be able to use that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I have another question too from Monty Cheese. What are some restrictions on extensions?
Great question. So actually, if you, when you submit an extension to be published, we do have a moderation and approval process.
Yep.
And we actually have all the documented guidelines and policies on what is not allowed for Twitch extensions.
Yep.
One thing to be aware of that's kind of not necessarily a gotcha, but to be cognizant of is we use content security policies or CSPs. So this does have some restrictions on what you can dynamically load, through a cross-domain request, things like that. So definitely, when you're ready to, when you're done developing locally, make sure you set aside enough time to do a hosted test where you're actually hosting on our CDN and you're testing on the site itself.
So in that case, you would upload your front-end assets to their CDN,
Yeah.
and then you'd be able to test your extension. You'd have to deploy your backend to a production environment.
Yeah, exactly. And there are some new services we're coming out with that actually help you to lower the burden of having that front end. So we have the extension configuration service. So
Yeah.
this is actually a place that you can have a front end only extension where you put a small amount of configuration data
Nice.
into our managed service. So that way you're not hosting a complete backend. Just to save simple state information.
It's basically a serverless extension, kind of.
Yes,
I was going to say,
exactly.
where are you hosting that in?
Yes. You could probably guess.
I could probably guess.
Cool.
I got a question from Robert Tables. Are there paid extensions?
So we do have a program for bits and extensions. And so there is a way for both developers and broadcasters to make money through extensions. And so the way that works is, first of all, to review, if you're not familiar with bits, but bits are a digital good you can purchase on Twitch, and primarily use that to cheer for for broadcasters.
Yep.
But with bits and extensions, you can create an experience where bits are redeemed for an action on the extension. So we talked about sound alerts earlier.
yeah.
You actually, a viewer spends bits to trigger a sound on the channel that everybody hears.
Oh.
So right now, we actually have a promotion where 100% of the revenue made through bits and extension are going to broadcasters. So if
Cool.
you're a broadcaster, if you're an affiliate or a partner on Twitch, feel free to check out some of the bits and extensions.
Test them out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have another question here. JC3 Twitch. Can I show a mini map in the overlays? How rich can the extension front end be?
Yeah, so there's actually some really good examples of this. During CSGO tournament, we actually had an extension that was developed that showed the mini map of everyone in the match in real time.
Nice.
Wow.
And so we do have a WebSocket system where you can do real-time messaging back and forth. but there is some rate limits associated with that. So if you want a really up-to-date, real-time mini-map overlay, you may have to use a separate WebSocket system. But that's all possible with an extension, because essentially you're just building a web application, a front-end component that runs on top of the stream.
Very nice.
So I know that, as I mentioned, Twitch Developer Day just happened in October. You had a bunch of cool things that you announced there, and some more cool features that are planned. What features that were launched are the most interesting to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the sandbox I thought was really exciting, because it really helps more developers get in to use extensions. I think some of the upcoming updates to Helix are going to be really exciting.
What's Helix?
Helix is our API.
Okay.
Yep, and so as we roll out more endpoints that Helix provides, I think that provides an even more robust data points for extensions to be built. What do you think?
I was going to mention subs and extensions also launched, which the big one was with Snapchat. So you can create different lenses that the broadcaster will wear, and when somebody subs, like the lens you choose will like come up on their face.
That's cool.
So that's a new one that we're really excited to see different people figure out how they want to leverage extensions and subs together.
That's a good reminder to everyone watching right now. Make sure that you follow us and subscribe.
Nice.
So there's also a new Twitch conference coming up in Europe that just got announced, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
Twitch
Wow.
Europe.
Yeah, we're going to be in Berlin.
In
I
Berlin.
know.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the time frame for that?
I believe it's April 13th or
They
something.
they did tell us the dates. April is right.
April.
April next year.
Mid-April.
So if you're in Europe or want to travel to
Yeah.
Berlin and meet some cool folks from Twitch, make sure you mark that in your calendar.
I want to
For
go.
sure.
And we also
can go.
have a really interesting thing that's kind of an online hackathon that's just been announced,
Yeah.
which is the AWS Extensions Challenge in
Yes.
partnership with Twitch. So that's an online hackathon with a whole bunch of prizes. I think the top prize is $15,000. You get TwitchCon tickets.
Yep.
You get to hang out with
Wow.
a bunch of the Twitch leadership team. And the second prize is $5,000. There's a lot of great things that you can win there. So
yeah.
this is an online hackathon. It's going for a long period of time, so it's not like a 24-hour overnight type
Yep,
thing. It's
starting
couple-
today.
Am I
Couple
barred
months.
from
all through.
participating?
That I don't know.
Listen.
You'll have to check with the legal department and see. But yeah, so we're hosting this in partnership with DevPost. So if you're interested in participating, finding out more, finding out how you can get going, participating in this hackathon, it's twitchdev.devpost.com.
Yep.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what everyone creates. So that's about it. We're about out of time. Any last suggestions for people to get started? Dev.twitch.tv, I think, is the place to go, right?
Yeah, I think for the Twitch Extension Challenge, it's really going to be really exciting, because we're going to be looking at extensions that are built on AWS and kind of like make use of all the amazing
Different
services that
tools
AWS
that you
has
guys
put
have,
out.
yeah.
So
All
it's a
right.
really good combo.
Cool. Well, Travis, Ziggy, Nikki, thank you so much. Stay tuned
Thank
for
you.
more great
Thank you,
content
guys.
here from AWS reInvent in Las Vegas.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.